Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Wake and Take. It's your boy Jason, and we've got some football to talk about today. And today, it's not just me yapping. I've got the man himself, Podfather, joining me today to give some hot takes. We're going to talk Drake Maye. We're going to talk Michael Penix. And then we're going to talk about this wonderful new app doing awesome things in the best fall fantasy football scene, the Fast Draft. So make sure you stick around to learn some more about that incredible app making waves. So without further ado, go ahead, take out your coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Podfather, how's it going? Welcome
Good
in.
morning. Good morning, Wake and Take audience. A lot of people in the chat. Wow.
Yes, it's awesome.
I remember last time I came on, there were like 2 chat messages that were like, hey, now there's like much love, getting the coffee, breakfast blend, Columbia's finest. Everyone talk about your coffee choice. That's the thing.
Yeah.
What a great gimmick, dude. What a hook. Tell people in the chat what kind of coffee you're drinking.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
I'm drinking a half calf Italian blend dark roast.
Look at you. I've got a French roast, and I've been telling the audience I've started adding cinnamon to my coffee because I've officially declared it fall. Football is on the TV. It's starting to cool down a little bit here in Georgia. I mean, 95 to like 88, but still, that feels nice. We're getting closer to fall. So we're throwing cinnamon in the coffee already down here. But yeah,
it's a fake cool down. It's a fake.
Yeah.
It's gonna heat back up. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's the false fall.
It's also it's both type. See, for me, it's both type of football season, right? It's also soccer season.
This is true.
It's also soccer season. So we get Premier League, we get NFL.
Mm-hmm.
This is my time of year. I mean, I'm grinding it out, watching the NBA, right?
Yeah.
The Olympics was a nice little thanks for the Olympics.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get that. Sometimes we get a World Cup, sometimes to get us through, right? But the fall, man, I mean, it's just rat-a-tat-tat. College football, Premier League, NFL.
Mm-hmm.
It's what a time to be alive. Then you got you get middle school soccer with my daughter. She's I think she's going to be starting this year for her team for the first time. So she's she had her first practice. So I went there early. Just me and a couple of the hardcore dads that are all over the apps and all over, the schedule and everything else. And then we're already we're breaking things down. And talking about the bad beats from last year. Right. We're just it's a very, very, very good time to be alive. We got Fast Draft happening.
Yes, we do.
It's very much happening. And I'm pleasantly surprised with the enthusiasm around it. It's, I thought we were just going to dabble a little bit, put it out there to see what happens, just to work out the kinks. But no, we've been flooded with close to 1,000 users already. Yeah. So again, I'm very grateful. I'm super, super grateful. And, we will, just take this and run with it. That's what you can expect from what we do, and take it and run with it. But I do know there is some football news from preseason training camp, in particular, quarterback depth chart news.
Yeah, you're the Podfather. I wanted to get your takes on some of these more, I guess, like these would be opinions almost that we're looking for, but you have some great opinions when it comes to the less defined things, I think. And when we're looking at the rookie quarterbacks, in particular Michael Penix and Drake Maye, things are getting interesting. We'll start with Michael Penix. He came out in the first preseason game, went 9 of 16 for 104 yards, no touchdowns, no turnovers, wasn't sacked, but looked really decent, looked comfortable, kind of just purveying the field and everything, looked like an NFL quarterback. And the Falcons have now made the decision, sit him out last week's preseason, and has already come out and said that he will not be playing the last game of the preseason. Raheem Morris has said they've seen everything they need to see from him. So there's just some sort of rumblings that, either Kirk Cousins might not be 100%, and that Michael Penix might actually get some action this season. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm thinking the thing that I think most people need to be thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and no one's thinking it. I haven't heard anyone say it. And eventually people are going to say it. So I want to get out ahead on the Wake and Take program, August 21st, 2024. And I want to say the thing that no one has said. And I don't even know how many people are thinking it. In fact, I don't think many people are even thinking it in New York.
Mm-hmm.
But the Giants fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
The Giants really fucked up. There was a lot of enthusiasm around Penix at the combine. You know, when I talked to the Matty Kiwooms of the world, they come back and they're like, "No, this Penix is for real. This guy's the truth." You know, and it's okay. I believe it. I love it. How could I not love it? This guy's mobile. This guy is poised. This guy doesn't take sacks.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, you know, seems to be like I don't know, a more polished, better passing version of Justin Fields. But instead of just pulling it down and running, he decides, no, I'm going to throw. When I get to the line of scrimmage, I'm going to throw instead of pull it down, because he has that ability to get to that extra read where Justin Fields never could at the NFL level. And these are things that were talked about throughout the process. And then there was no surprise when he goes top 10, right? And I love Malik Neighbors. For fantasy football, he is my guy. In the top 50, he's my guy. There's one guy I always ask on the Might of Mansion show, who's your guy that you're jumping up around to take in the top 50?
Mm-hmm.
My guy has always been Malik Neighbors.
Yep.
Okay. And we have the receipts, like the Kings Classic and the FSGA Experts League, and I have all the receipts for all the neighbors and all the right. I have the receipts of the when I took Amon-Ra over Tyreek Hill at the FSGA, and the when we got Malik Neighbors in the auction with Theo at the Kings Classic. I love Malik Neighbors, but he ain't a quarterback, okay? And he ain't a quarterback that can, you know, carry a franchise to a Super Bowl. That was there for the taking for the Giants, and they whiffed on the evaluation. If you're going to take a wide receiver in a situation where you're desperate for a quarterback, and once they finally move on from Daniel Jones, they're going to start from scratch. And if you're that general manager, what are you doing? What? Right? Because if you stick with Daniel Jones, he had no choice. It's one of those situations like in poker where you're in a tournament and you're short stacked and you have a small pair. You have to go all in. You just go all in and you just hope, right? You hope that someone doesn't have a bigger pair and that you win the coin flip otherwise. And then you try to double up and then you can make some moves. But you got to go all in with that. He's already been in the job for a couple of years. It's been up and down. They're coming off a brutal season. The idea that they wouldn't go quarterback was insane. Because again, it's one of those things. It's just like poker. The blinds are going to get you. You're going to keep rolling it over and the blinds go up. The seasons move along. You still don't have a quarterback. You're going to go bust. They were actually could have been the most desperate team to get a quarterback of all, right? Because remember, Chicago did have Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Okay. They weren't so desperate for a quarterback. Well, it turns out they were, but they didn't really, let on to that. And we didn't know at the time, right? At the time, you could have argued before it all went down, before all the evaluations started coming in and all the mock drafts got locked in and we knew what the team preferences were, you could argue that the Giants would have been the most zealous for a quarterback. Giants and Washington would have been the two. And that they didn't come away with a quarterback, that they went Neighbors. We're going to be looking back in 5 years and being like, oh man, Neighbors is great, but they could have had their franchise quarterback there. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, all the quarterbacks taken in the top 12, it was ridiculous, especially going into the process. The Giants were expected to take a quarterback. I mean, they were tied to McCarthy. They were tied to trade-ups to get Maye. It was like, it seemed that was going to be the case. So I will ask you,
Yeah, they if Maye was there, they would have selected Maye.
Right.
Well, that's just a bad evaluation. If you don't have Penix and Maye at least equivalent in your evaluation, then someone did something wrong. And now Joe Schoen's on the hook. Right now, he has to stick and move and trust the coach. Poor Brian Daboll. I mean, I feel bad for Brian Daboll being put in this situation.
What do you do?
Because now Brian Daboll is going to make things happen in a division with Dak and Jalen Hurts, and now Jaden Daniels, because Washington went out and got the quarterback. His GM didn't get him the quarterback. So now he's got to go out there and try to just use flash paper and, twizzle sticks to try to get something going with Daniel Jones. Yeah. And then what's going to happen? Daniel Jones, he's going to have some kind of shoulder injury or something. He's going to miss half the season. It's going to be another lost season. They may win a bunch of games with their defense, not necessarily get a top 5 pick, and then they're going to be right back in purgatory. And then they're going to have worse choices than Penix. It was a great gift that Penix fell out of the top 5. And so much so that the Falcons were like, listen, we just paid Kirk Cousins many millions.
Yeah.
But we can't say no to this. And this is something that we talk about all the time. The value of the quarterback position is so much higher than any other position that the Mike Lombardi types were quick to go into their podcast and criticize the Falcons when, that should be the chalk move every time, unless you have a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes. If you're half the teams in the league that aren't in love with their quarterback situation, your default mode should be, if there's a franchise level quarterback, we pick him.
Yeah.
McCarthy's there. Penix is there. We pick him. Yeah. You just pick them. Auto pick. You don't even think about it. It's just you have your draft on auto pick if you're one of those half of the league without a true franchise quarterback that you can trust. You could argue even the Jets, right? They should have been drafting a quarterback in the first round. You could go through half of the league and say the position is so valuable. The idea you would take a perimeter player, a cornerback, a wide receiver, a safety over a quarterback in that situation is actually not smart at all. And now that we have Hard Knocks, thankfully, the beauty is we have the hidden camera in the dude's office where we see him just staring at the wall,
asking
and calling 2 GMs that happen to be his friends. I mean, it's just poetry. It's perfect. It's perfect. And then the team that gets the criticism for doing the thing that was unorthodox is going to come out of this looking so good. The Falcons look so good right now. They're going to roll the NFC South. They're going to win the NFC South by like 3 games. They're going to roll over this division. And then they have their future set up, teed up. It's beautiful what they've set up.
It's incredible because, I mean, everyone's like, oh, they didn't take any defense. And then within the last week, they get Matthew Judon in a trade and they're able to sign Justin Simmons as well. Like this is an all-star defense now.
This front office is like top 5. My top 5 front offices are always changing and always fluid because these GMs always disappoint me.
Yeah.
Right. Chris Ballard stuck the knife in one year. They all do it. Howie Roseman, they all do it to me at one point in time. They will stick the knife in just when I can trust them. Right. But now Ballard's back. Howie, they're both in the top 5. Falcons front office. Woo!
It's good.
Looking good.
Terry Fontenot knows what he's doing.
Terry Fontenot.
Yeah.
He takes a lot of criticism from the Mike Lombardis of the world. But maybe there's a little bit of bitterness. Maybe if you have a podcast and you're not actually working anymore. I know this is working. Okay, first of all, in fairness, this is what I do. This is what you do. This is working.
Yeah.
But it's not at that level. Okay. You're talking, not managing.
Right.
Okay. When you go from managing to talking, you're in a different class of society. Okay. So maybe that's the reason you're talking now. is that you didn't recognize what was going on in Atlanta.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll just ask this bluntly. Do you think that we see Michael Penix starting a game this year?
Yes. Oh, most definitely. Guys, it's like, I love the summer, man. It's like so much just memory loss, right? It's like, don't you remember all of the quarterback injuries, the broken thumbs, the shoulders, Tom Brady's torn ACL, right? The high ankle sprains, the broken foot, Matthew Stafford, how many times has he broken his clavicle? Right? What are we what? Matthew Stafford's supposed to retire. Remember, his back was broken.
Yeah.
Right. Kyler Murray tore his ACL. Then now he's stumbling around, limping around for half the season. Dak has all kinds of different hip and shoulder. He's going to a special coach that specializes in Tommy John surgery. Because, of course, the odds are, remember Tua was going to retire with concussion syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna. So, didn't Russell Wilson break a finger? Wasn't it a finger? He lost a month with a broken finger. So there's so many different random quarterback injuries that can happen. So yes, I believe that the guy that has the Achilles tear, who's even less mobile now than he was before, that's going to lead to some collisions inside the pocket that he's not going to be able to get up off the turf from. And so that's we're talking 3 or 4 games started by Penix. I think that when Cousins is in there because he's a veteran and because he plays fast and because he's got a great deep ball, that the offense will be better with Cousins. So I don't think there's any danger of Cousins getting a 3-4 game injury and then losing his job to Penix. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I think that Penix will look good. I think that they'll be hopeful. I think they'll be, wow, okay, I think we got something here. I think he'll stick and move and make things happen and keep them in games. And that'll be exciting. And everyone that drafted Penix in Dynasty, even single quarterback, that's a great move. In single quarterback leagues, I was like, why not draft? Why? Really? You're going to go in a single quarterback league. People are going Keon Coleman. They're going Xavier Legette. Think about all the players that were drafted ahead of Penix in single quarterback rookie drafts. Embarrassing. Longer term. What if I told you that Penix scores like 10 times the number of fantasy points in his career as Keon Coleman?
That would make sense to me.
It would make sense.
like that would just make sense.
What are we doing, man? What are we doing? And like in Dynasty, even in single quarterback Dynasty leagues, there's typically every team has 2 quarterbacks. So we're talking 24 quarterbacks rostered. Then there's a couple teams with 3.
Yeah.
Then there's the IR spot. So then a couple more teams put so suddenly in the regular season, there's 28 quarterbacks rostered. So it's not like single quarterback dynasty is not the same as single quarterback seasonal leagues, managed leagues. The quarterback depth is not the same. Yeah. And yet I see quarterback valuation sort of mimicking in dynasty, single quarterback mimicking seasonal leagues. And no, you want Penix, man. Yeah. You want him. Yeah. And I've seen a bunch of drafts happen in the fast draft format. And in the fast draft format, it's a rookie game. It's called Origins. And the reason we built it was to create a game so that all of us that are obsessing over all these rookies, these Penixes and these Lad McConkeys, that there'd be an outlet to play that doesn't require you to make this life commitment to a dynasty league. Right. So we talk all these rookies. We do go through this exercise all year. And then your rookie draft takes like an hour. And it's really anticlimactic. It's like, oh my God, I love the rookie draft so much. I love it. It's over. Right? Or it's a slow draft and then you drag it on for days and that's it's interesting and it's cool, but then it's over. And then it's like, okay, I want to do another rookie draft. Well, we actually have to join another dynasty league to do another rookie draft. That's a tall order. And the next thing you know, like me, I'm in 20 dynasty leagues and I'm like, this is crazy. And then I have to orphan all these teams because I overcommitted. Why did I overcommit? Because I love the rookie draft so much. So my answer to that was just build a platform where you can just draft rookies constantly all the time on a loop with stakes, right? For money.
Yeah.
So how do you do that? Well, we did it a format where you draft 6 rookies and then it's best ball. So every week the top 4 scorers enter your lineup. That's it. It was pretty simple. And then at the end, you can update your boosters. So you can say, well, this guy gets a little bit of a captain share. This guy doesn't get the captain share. So we have 4 captain shares out of the 6. A 2x captain, a 1.75x captain, 1.5 and 1.25. We call them boosters. I think boosters is a better name than captains personally. So the nice thing about building a fantasy app, a platform, is that all the terminology and all the things that I always thought were a little not intuitive about just fantasy in general, we had the opportunity to fix. Yeah. We had the opportunity to change. Like, this is what I think these should be called. I don't like the word captain. I'm going to go booster. And this is better. So this is what we did. And now we have this platform where people are drafting on Fast Draft. They're drafting, 60 guys. It's 6 rounds, 10 teams. And you start, a lot of people are starting with Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels, and they're going all the way out to player 60 and whoever that is. And then you start to see the buzz from camp is really informing those picks at pick 40 to 60. It's really all about, there's a new wide receiver 3 potentially in Los Angeles. Ooh, exciting. There's a new wide receiver 3 rookie in Atlanta.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you get a bunch of these examples coming up where some of these receivers that have a path. They get drafted at the end of the 6th round. You see some of these tight ends that people know are going to get snaps and get targets this year just to get points to enter your lineup when you need them. They're going in the round 5, round 6. And so it's been a cool format. It's a cool strategy to see. And my favorite strategy that I've seen is the people that are steaming up Michael Penix.
Yeah.
Because in that format, if you go back to last year, so we ran the numbers from last year, and the team that would have won that Origins format last year was the team that went Stroud, Achane, Dell, Puka, and then whoever. Yeah. And then if you put Puka in your second booster spot, your second captain, that would have been the nuts, right? With whatever fringe, guy in the 5th and 6th round that was getting some points here and there, and that was the team. That would have been the team to win it all last year. The conceivable team. Probably no one would have had that exact team because that would have required Achane to fell. He would have had to fall a little bit. You had to get Stroud not at the 101, maybe Stroud at the 104 or 5 or something like that. Then you could conceivably get Achane. Like, that was the theoretical best team. Right. But what was it, though? Think about what it was. It's still stacked. It's still a Texans, right? It's still a Texans stack. Yeah. So now with the noise that's being made in Atlanta, you could see a Penix stack, which I think would be interesting. And so what it turns out is in the first round, typically what you're hoping for is to get lucky on a quarterback. Right? The quarterbacks have the most upside. In fantasy football, who scores the most points every year? It's a quarterback. It's Josh Allen, right? So if you can't get Jaden Daniels, what a lot of people in Origins are doing is they're saying, I can't get Jaden Daniels. I'm not going Keon Coleman at the end of the first. I'm going Penix. Because the upside, if Kirk Cousins goes the path of Aaron Rodgers from last year, and has another injury, misses most of the season, Penix could be right there with Daniels in terms of the highest scoring rookie quarterbacks. And then that guy would be the nuts. And then if you stacked him with Casey Washington in round 6, and Casey Washington outplays Cordarrelle Hodge and Rondale Moore and Ray McLeod and catches a bunch of touchdowns, well, now that's the path to the nuts.
Yeah.
If you have a late first, right? If you're in the 108, 109, 110 range, and you don't have access to out to a Bo Nix, people are really stuck. They're like, do I go McConkey? There's a lot of fantasy points there, or do I go for the complete upside play because it's a tournament? You can draft up to 150 teams.
Yeah.
You want to get a bunch of Penix. So there's a portfolio that's featured. It's not, somewhere else in the app, or it's not in a third-party app. It's right there on the screen. Actually, your exposure, your how much ownership you have of every player shows next to that player in the draft room. So as you're drafting, you can calibrate your ownership in real time. And, some people have told me, hey, I'm trying to get, for Origins, I'm trying to get 40% Penix. That's my strategy. And basically, if I have a great chance, I really tee myself up to win the whole thing, to win the $5,000 grand prize, if all I need is like the event of a Kirk Cousins. And it doesn't have to be Kirk Cousins like re-injuring his Achilles. It doesn't have to be Kirk Cousins hurting his foot or his knee in some sort of like, oh, this is related to the Achilles. He's anything can happen back there. These guys are under attack from the gladiators of the sports world. So there's all kinds of injuries that could happen to Kirk Cousins this year. I don't want it to happen. Ideally, I would love for him to just have a nice productive season. Let Penix just develop, sit in those film rooms, soak it in from a veteran. Everybody loves Kirk Cousins too. His teammates love him. Remember when he said, "You like that?" And then other guys came out right after him, was like, "You like that?" And they were loving it. He's the type of guy, like, you could see him in the locker room, other guys coming up to him and messing up his hair and him loving it. Yeah. And so I really like him and I respect him a lot. Right. He's outspoken. I don't, agree with all of his opinions on things, but that's okay. Right. That's okay. Like, he and Aaron Rodgers are really, they say some things that there's no way you could ever agree with everything they say, because they say some stuff that's really outside the normal operating assumptions of how the world works. And you're like, okay, but I respect the hell out of it that these guys are willing to actually speak their mind and not just robo quarterbacking their way through it. Sure. I respect that. I respect that their teammates respect them. Like, if you earn the respect of defensive backs and DNs around the league, then that's impressive. The coaches love him. And he's able to do it all by extracting the absolute maximum dollars from every NFL franchise he's ever played for, and only playing on teams he wants to play for, and finding a way to basically, jump off one ship that is leaking and about to capsize, and then finding himself on another ship that has an offense that's ready to go nuclear.
Yeah.
I kind of love, he is a genius. So I respect his business acumen, his confidence to bet on himself. I want him to play great and then sail off into the sunset and let Penix come in and then have this, and then maybe get Arthur Blank a championship. Right. This old man, this old doddering man, when the old doddering man, and I mean, I know he's made mistakes in his life. I'm sure there's scandals out there I don't even know about, right? With all these old men with money, 100% they have scandals. Yeah. But whenever there's an old doddering man out there who's just like, man, it would be nice to get a championship. It's like, hey, let's get him a championship, fella. Let's send him off. That would be good. So that'd be a cool send off. Get Cousins his championship, get Blank his championship. I would love it. I'm getting you can tell every second that goes by, I get more and more bullish about these Falcons. This is your team.
I know, but that's the problem, right?
Program for this.
I know, but isn't that the problem? Like, doesn't this just feel almost too Atlanta Falcons? Like they're gonna start off like 9-0, and then Kirk Cousins is just gonna get hurt again. They'll have a first round playoff exit, and it's just gonna collapse. Like that's to me what it feels like. And maybe I've just been burned too many times.
No, it can't see that the beauty of a Falcons fan. Nothing can be worse than 28-3.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's it's a great gift. Right? It's a great gift. Nothing could be worse. It's just like the Red Sox. Nothing could be worse than Buckner. Right? It couldn't be worse than Game 6. So everything else, like even when we had these heartbreaking losses as a Red Sox fan to the Yankees in the late 90s, and then even losses to like the Cleveland. And it was just, but it never felt that the sting wasn't as bad because we had 1986 and it was all easier. It was just like the Cubs, right? Nothing could top Bartman.
Yeah.
Nothing. So then what happened? They win a championship, right? It's like hey, it can't be that bad, right? So now you got to look at it like this. You've already peaked. The bad luck has peaked. Now you're downhill skiing.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that sentiment for sure.
Yeah, think about it. All these teams with the bad luck franchises, they've all ended up winning.
This is true. I'm trying not to get too excited, but I really am. You heard me talk about how much I'm into Kyle Pitts this year on Might Have Mansion last week. I'm excited about these Falcons. It just almost feels a little too good to be true. But man,
it would be nice if all the Falcons got there except Drake London. I have to say that would be interesting. I would enjoy that just because the steam and the projection is so high on him.
It's ridiculous.
And it's so crazy because he's not a dynamic athlete. He didn't test. He looks like a tight end. I mean, you guys, if you blur your eyes and Pitts and London are in a formation, you're not sure who's who.
Which one's the tight end?
They're both like 6'5", 240. Like it's not even, that's just not my type of guy, man. He's just not my type. So you could say, oh, well, Garrett Wilson's a projection too. But yeah, Garrett Wilson has Mike Williams. I mean, Garrett, come on. And Garrett Wilson is this dynamic playmaker that I get excited about. I can't get excited about this London. I just can't do it. And then most of it is like, oh, target earning in his rookie year. Such a great target share, targets per route run. But you know who the receivers were his rookie year?
Kyle Pitts was hurt. It was no one. It was
go check the roster.
It was so bad.
The other receivers on the Falcons in Drake London's rookie year. So settle down. I'm fading Drake London. Those two guys at the 1-2 turn, it's just so easy to just go AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, or even dabble with some Jonathan Taylor or some Saquon Barkley. But just the auto fade on Puka that you just can't match what he did last year. Just because hey, we're drafted for this year, not last year. No Puka. And I'm happy to project one of these guys that I actually really like, but I'm not projecting two of them. No. I'll project Garrett Wilson. I'll pick a guy to project, one guy. I'm not doing both. So the people that loaded up on Garrett Wilson and Drake London at the 1-2 turn, it's like, it's too arrogant.
It is.
It's too arrogant.
That doesn't feel
two
right.
Guys that had 11 fantasy points a game last year at the 1-2 turn. I mean, it's too arrogant. It's too much teasing the gods, teasing the fantasy gods that you're going to get now. And Garrett Wilson was both a target commander and an efficient player. London's efficiency and his target earning actually declined last year. So I just need to see more. I need to see more separation from him, from defenders. I need to see him be able to win in these contested situations more. I need to see more from him before I'm going to. And so what would be epic is if we get the spike weeks from Mooney, we get some Casey Washington, we get, tight end 2 performance from Pitts that it goes Kincaid Pitts, I would love it. Oh my God. Oh my God. In my veins. In my veins. In my veins, Kincaid Pitts. 1-2. Because I'm fading Laporta also. You know, I'm fading Laporta because it's like I can't. Okay, I'm not going to bet on a guy being Kelsey if I'm also taking his teammate wide receiver at the 103. Yeah. What? Yeah. That doesn't even. What? I'm not doing that. Like, it's like, I think Sam Laporta is a fine fellow, but I'm all in on Amon-Ra St. Brown, which necessarily means I can't be all in on, also Sam Laporta. I'm all in on Dalton Kincaid, which means I also can't be all in on Keon Coleman, and I'm very okay with that. Did you see the photo I posted in the Mind of Mansion show of the back of the end zone that I pulled from HBO? What a hassle that was. So here's what I wanted to do in that show. And I was talking to Justin Boone before the program. I was like, listen, I'm trying to record this HBO Hard Knocks episode. Mm-hmm. And they won't let me even screen record it on my phone. They won't let me screen record it on my computer. I'm going to have to take a movie with my phone of my screen. And I'm like, fuck this. This is, you know what I'll do? I'm just going to screen cap it. And it wouldn't even let me screenshot the paused image. There's something about that HBO movie player for these streaming apps where they have somehow blocked any ability to even get an image of what they're doing. It's an amazing copyright blocking ability that they've implemented. Good for them.
Yeah.
It is copywritten material. It is. Yeah. It is copywritten material. So what I had to do was I had to screen cap. I had to take a picture of my screen with my phone and put it up there. All right. And I'm like, all right, the video. All right. I'm not even going to run, because typically YouTube will let you run less than 5 seconds of a video that's copywritten. Like, that's part of like the understanding with the YouTube guidelines. And you're allowed to just do a quick clip. And it's good because then the thing is, yes, it's copywritten, but if you just do the smallest segment or snippet, you're advertising for Hard Knocks. You're getting them more viewers and a bigger audience by talking about it. You're not rerunning the program on your channel and like siphoning viewers. No, we're not. We're actually promoting the guy. You're not letting me promote your show. Yeah. Right. This is what this guy, Rick Beato, that I follow on YouTube, he complains about this all the time. He's like, these bands like the Eagles, they block me talking about Eagles. I just want to play a 5-second clip of an Eagles song and they won't let me. And it's like, no one's coming to my channel to listen to a 5-second clip of your song instead of just listening to Desperado by itself. That's not happening. Right. But a lot of young people listen to my channel and they actually don't know the song. So maybe I can introduce them and maybe they'll go find it on Spotify and make you money. Yeah. Take your head out of your ass, boomers. Right? And so that's what I'm saying. Like, hey, I'm promoting Hard Knocks. You won't even let me do it. You're making me take a screenshot of a screenshot of a screenshot. But it was a great screenshot. It was a great screenshot. It was just Keon Coleman's like the top of his helmet and like a foot and like a hand. The rest of it was just completely blocked out by the defender. Like there was nothing there. Like he's no one in the history of the back of the end zone has ever been more covered than Keon Coleman. And you could tell what was happening was he got a little bit pulled. His jersey got a little bit pulled. And what he did was he threw his hands up in the air. Like, I'm being pulled. This is illegal. You know? And then the refs are like, what are you doing? And then he ended up like this in the back of the end zone, sprawling. And then it was like it should have been a picked off. It should have been an interception. Mm-hmm. Right? Interceptions in the end zone are just the most gut-wrenching events. Okay. Right? For an offense. It's just, you can't do it. And so, but he wasn't even in a position because he was going like this. he wasn't in a position to kind of hack it away. You'll see a Justin Jefferson, they'll actually hack that away. When the defender is about to intercept it, they will, at least if they're behind the defender and it was just a bad read by the quarterback, the Justin Jeffersons will come in and do a solid for the quarterback and try to hack that ball away.
Yeah, they'll play defense.
But if you're going like this, you can't do it. Right? So again, I was looking for a reason when they were playing the Bills. I was like, oh, I hope we see Agent Zero out there. And by zero, I mean 0 talent, 0 ability, 0 fantasy points. He has, Keon Coleman is number 0 for 0 fantasy points. And so I was like, I can't wait to see what happens. And I'm like, I'm willing to I can't wait. Maybe I'll be wrong. And we'll talk about how wrong I am about maybe he looks great. And then for him to look so bad, it was, against Simone Biles' boyfriend or something. It was great. I mean, I know that guy's really good. Yeah. He's really good. I get it. Right? Simone Biles isn't going to be dating a bad football player. That's not happening. Right? She's not dating Cordarrelle Hodge. That's not who she's dating. Like, I get it. He's good. But come on. So nothing would make me happier than it just to be all Kincaid. See, the thing is, we need that to be the case, though, because we're going to have to deal with the Dawson Knox touchdowns. Yeah. Which is just slightly less annoying than the Michael Mayer touchdowns, but yet somehow more annoying because Michael Mayer is a better player. So that there's a little more of an earned nature to his touchdowns. Yeah. Whereas Dawson Knox, he's a blocker. He's just a veteran. He's a great teammate. People love him. He's put his body on the line over the middle for many years. He's dealt with some injuries, but he was explosive coming out of Mississippi. Mm-hmm. I like him. But I mean, he's no Kincaid, right? He's no Kincaid. So that'll be it. But you have to add, I think Dawson Knox touchdowns have to be top 10 on the list of tilts for the season. Things that are going to really melt. I was so happy when Theo and I finally came up with that premise of what is going to melt down Twitter X, and just reeling off things that'll melt down Twitter X. And then he would say things because as like a high stakes player, those would bother him. And I remember me going, "Oh, I wouldn't mind that." Oh, no, that I wouldn't mind. Right. That I wouldn't mind. But, there's Roschon Johnson, red zone carries. Oh, no.
You want that.
Oh, no. That we want. That we're good with. That's the tilt I want. Please, God. Right.
But DJ Shark.
Please, God. DeAndre Swift. Screen pass to the 5-yard line, Roschon Johnson touchdown. That would just be phenomenal. And Justin Boone mentioned a possible Khalil Herbert trade or cut. I wouldn't mind that either. That'd be kind of cool. Because watching Hard Knocks, it seems they really want to get these Velus Joneses. They want to get these explosive hybrid players, these Percy Harvin types. They've got multiple. They got a guy in Wheeler. Yeah. So they got this Wheeler, they got this Jones. And I think that's what they want to do is develop a guy in the number 3 gadget role as opposed to keeping 3 standard running backs, which is smart. Yeah. Which is what I've been talking about that's all I would do. I have one all-purpose running back that I got cheap. Yeah. Right? Whether it be like signing Aaron Jones or drafting Roschon Johnson in day 3, that'll be my starter. And then I'll just have Percy Harvins for the rest of my running back room. That's what I would have. Just, Raheem Mostert's, like Raheem Mostert when he came out of Purdue and he was a special teamer. Yeah. Those are the type of guys. And I would develop just like San Francisco did with Mostert. I would have that kind of mechanism in place, that kind of factory in place to take guys that run 4-3 and turn them into running backs that are also special teamers. There's like 4 of those guys, and they come in for certain packages. They're on special teams, but they're also guys that we can play at the running back position. That, I believe, is one of the edges that teams have not fully exploited. They're happy to dabble on a Cordarrelle Patterson,
Right.
but I've never seen a team go all in and have like 3 of those guys as like their running back room. That would be next level. I would do that. If I were a general manager, that's what I would do. And I know the coach would be annoyed. He's like, none of these guys can run block. And I'm like, that's why we drafted Penix, dude. Mobility. Because one of the, we can't have a pocket passer if there's a whole bunch of guys that can't pass block. So we have guys that can roll out when they need to. It's fine. We're good.
Scramble action.
That's why they have Caleb Williams, the Bears. They're just, okay, we'll have Wheeler and Velus Jones, and it's fine because Caleb can just, move around.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. All right, Matt, I want to talk some more fat strap, but I would like just one hot take. Just give us you've given some few, but just give like one before we move on to some fast strap talk.
I feel like I've already given a bunch.
Yeah, you've given some. You've given some great ones.
I know. I've already given a bunch, and I'm thinking, and your video's going out.
I'm back.
Your video's glitching. That's fun. That's always fun. That helps sometimes when you're trying to you come up with a hot take out of the blue. How do you pull a hot take out of the blue? My hot take is the second most productive wide receiver for the Packers this year, who is also going to tilt people into oblivion. This is the thing that has to be a top 10 tilt that I'm going to absolutely love. So if we're talking top 10 tilts,
okay,
that will make me the happiest of all the tilts, that'll make me the happiest. One of them has got to be the Bo Melton spike weeks.
Ooh.
The Bo Melton spike weeks has to be, because when I just go to Player Profiler and I look at these guys, Bo Melton looks like one of the best prospects. And when he played, he was good. And now he's earned a job. And now it's like there's these 5 guys in this wide receiver room. And Bo Melton's just a better player than Dontavian Wicks. So he just is. He had a better prospect profile. He checks more boxes. There's nothing that Wicks has done that Melton can't do or hasn't shown, like in terms of efficiency or whatever it is. So I think he's a better player than Wicks. He's a better player than Dobbs. And then all you need at that point is for Christian Watson not to play the full season. And suddenly Melton's the number 2 receiver. I think it's going to be Reed and Melton. I think we're going to be looking up in these Love, Reed, Melton stacks with Musgrave. I mean, that's why I think on an underdog, these best ball platforms that really emphasize team structure.
Yeah.
Because that's what best ball is. Best ball is a team structure, game theory, correlation platform, right? That's what these formats emphasize. It's not as much about the players. It's about, can you configure the teams to align for week 17 and have the maximum correlation to win the whole thing?
Yeah.
At value. And that's the reason why I'm not even a big Jordan Love fan, but the stacking ability with Jordan Love is so easy. You can backdoor stack him. You can front door stack him. You can go Reed Love. You can go Love, Musgrave, Wicks, and Melton. There's just so much flexibility from a stacking standpoint. Jordan Love really is like that, Queen Jack suited in terms of flexibility on the flop. There's so much that can happen. You can just flop a Broadway. You can do so many things you could do that are just good, right, at value. And then that's why that's the hand you want to play. That's the hand you want to, get in with. And so that the Jordan Love, based on nothing other than the value of the stacks and how late his potential number 2 wide receiver is going, and that number 2 wide receiver has spike week potential.
Yeah.
He's not a Greg Dortch. See, that's the thing. A lot of these number 3s, it's A.T. Perry, who is a very solid professional flanker wide receiver who is going to get you first downs, and he's going to be a solid player. Okay. Greg Dortch, he can get open, right? He's discount Deontay Johnson. He can get open. He's always open, right? Can he do anything after? Not really. But he's not an explosive spike week specialist. Bo Melton has the size, the athleticism. So that is a great gift in the final round of a best ball draft. So if we look up on Player Profiler, you go to Player Profiler and you go to Jordan Love's ADP tab, you can see his ADP in both FFPC and Underdog. And FFPC also has these big tournaments too. So stacking in the FFPC is very important because it is tournament based. Yes, you can win your league, and then you win your league and you get paid off there, and then you enter the tournament, the Dominator weeks, where it's like, okay, then you're playing the other league champions and people that got in on total points and whatnot. And so that's, again, stacking really matters. So on Underdog, Love is up half a round just in the last week. It's interesting. And so he's at slot 93. Very, very good value. And then he's at 105 at the FFPC, which is single quarterback. We're talking about single quarterback, high stakes, that, compared to best ball, different, right? So if you go to FFPC best ball leagues, Jordan Love goes higher. But because you have to draft multiple quarterbacks in those leagues, 2 or 3, whereas in single quarterback, high stakes, you're going to be drafting 1 to 2. Most people do draft 2 though. So he's going at QB 10, FFPC. On Underdog, he's going at QB 9. And that's the thing. See, that's the thing. These are the micro edges where you can see, why does Love go a little earlier in the best ball format? Because he is the best guy to stack. The best.
Yeah.
And the idea that you can stack him with Musgrave, Wicks, and Melton and feel great about it is kind of cool. And Watson is a spike week. That's all he's been. Watson is a classic best ball receiver.
Yeah.
Reed is very affordable, given that he is the number 1. Like, he is the number 1 receiver. Like, that to me, it's like, no one knows what's going to happen in this passing game in Green Bay. Well, yeah, we do. Number 1, Reed's the starter. Number 1, he's the starter for sure, and also just the first Reed. He's Reed. He's going at slot 60 on Underdog. That's amazing, right? That is the end of the 5th round. That's exactly what I mean. Perfect. Right? The last pick in the 5th round. That's what you want, man. And he's down 5 picks in the last week. It's great. High stakes. Guess where he's going? At the FFPC, you can get him at pick 83. 83.
Wow.
Right? 83. Reed and Love pick 83 and 105 respectively at the FFPC. So my hot take is twofold. Jordan Love stacks will win championships and win people millions of dollars. And Bo Melton will be part of that story. That's my hot take.
I like it. I'm looking at Bo Melton's page. How did Rutgers have Bo Melton and Isaiah Pacheco on the same team and still suck at football? I don't get it. There's some athletic guys both drafted.
Bad offensive line, really bad quarterback play,
everything.
Awful defense.
Fair enough.
Why doesn't Greece compete in the gold medal game at the Olympics?
Fair enough. You got it. You got me.
They got 2 great NBA players. What happened? Oh, the other 3 guys play in Europe.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Where France they go like 10 NBA players deep. That's the difference.
That is the difference. You're right.
That's it.
The depth. No one wants to play for Rutgers. The Big Ten's hard enough. You're right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's that's the ball game there. So yeah, I think it's interesting with Jaden Reed because On Underdog, he's going at pick 60, and pick 60 is the last player on Fast Draft's Flex 4 game.
This is true.
So the Fast Draft Flex 4 game is interesting in that, the final round, it's all about finding a guy that's underowned. That's what that's what people are telling me anyway. So because I've been, talking to, strategists. Like there's a lot of hardcore grinders that have already picked up the game and already started developing strategy.
Right.
Some of the best high stakes players, some best ball grinders are already on it and are talking to me about what they're in my DMs like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And I'm like, oh, great, cool. Post it on Twitter. Tell people what you're doing. Like, no. So in Origins, the rookie game, it's just about getting points in the 5th and 6th round. Just get a guy, get a tight end, get a guy that's going to make the roster, going to get targets, maybe get some carries. So guy with a path to carries, guy with a path to targets. And a lot of times that's like a tight end, Theo Johnson, Eric All, one of those guys. Not like a big spike week guy, but a guy that is going to fill in on bye weeks and in weeks where, some of your other rookies don't perform at all. That's the purpose of like the 5th, 6th round picks in the Origins format. And the other thing is, we did Origins because I was looking at Player Profiler, and I remember last year, Tank Dell was near the top of the search traffic. Nico Collins was nowhere to be found. And that's because one guy's a rookie, one guy's not. One guy is all this unknown. The other guy is kind of a stale commodity. Yet Nico Collins, they had similar fantasy points last year. But people are super eager to talk rookies, draft rookies. And so reverse engineer a format that lets people just do rookie drafts with stakes on a constant loop. And because that's what they want to be doing. Right. So that's, for the people. Well, as it turns out, this was Billy's idea. He's like, well, this format would also be great if we just did all flex, no quarterbacks. Right. And that's where, Fast Draft is a very unique platform, and it's nothing like anything else. Oh, you're competing with this. We're not competing with anything. It's something totally unique. Best ball up to this point had been all about team building and team structure. I'm not saying player agnostic. Certainly late, like last year, you wanted Kyron Williams, and these player takes are important.
Right.
But it's much more about team structure. You could just have the best player takes, and if you have no correlation, you're dead. Right? And if you don't pay attention to week 17, you're dead. And so those that are like to super intellectualize team building in fantasy football, the current best ball formats that are out there are damn near perfect. And why it was so heartbreaking for me when Connecticut essentially said, hey, if you're not on DraftKings, you can't play. They made it prohibitively expensive to get a license in Connecticut. So, and crowded out everyone but the DraftKings and the FanDuels. And that was a real bummer for me because I was like, it's so. That's okay. That's okay. I'll work on a platform, instead. Right. But this platform is not about the team structures as much. It's about player takes. It's about player opinions. It's about player analysis. It's about finding the best players. So if you believe, so I know someone who's really into Saquon Barkley, and, he's not a big fantasy guy, but he's smart and he plays some fantasy and he knows fantasy, and he's like offended that Saquon Barkley's a 2nd round pick. Like when we talk, he can't believe, he's like, Saquon Barkley's still a 2nd round pick. I'm like, yeah. He's like, idiots. Like he just doesn't get it. He's like, people are morons. This guy was a 101 overall pick when he was on the Giants with nobody. Now you're putting him on a dream team and he's a 2nd rounder. He's like, fantasy people are dumb. And he's like, if I was playing your game, I would just take Saquon every time, unless if I didn't get McCaffrey. I would just have my ranking set to McCaffrey, Saquon, and I would have, 90% Saquon and 10% McCaffrey and ship it.
Yeah.
Right. And he doesn't much care about the later round picks. He would just be all in on Saquon, and that could win it. Right? Just him being all in on Saquon could be what wins. One single player take could make the difference. But the beauty is once this tournament gets bigger, that's not going to be enough.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to get some of these early picks right, but then you're also going to have to get your 5th and 6th round picks right. And instead of just getting touches, which is what you want in Origins in the 5th and 6th round, just give me touches, right? On Flex 4, what you want is to look at the ownership. We post the ownership in the tournament in the draft room while you're drafting. So you can see Ladd McConkey is less than 10% owned, but Jaden Reed is much higher.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe in that situation, you go McConkey because Jaden Reed's right at that 59, 60, 61 cutoff.
Right.
McConkey's at like whatever it is, 75. And so he gets drafted in far, far fewer drafts. So now you're like, well, I just have to throw one bullet, right, in the chamber, where I got 6 rounds. I'm going to fire one bullet off the target, right, on a McConkey, on a Corum, on Player X with upside. And then what would be nice is if that guy outperforms all the other standard 6 rounders, suddenly it's you against a couple other people that figured this out, that had that fringe guy, and then also had the right guys in the first couple rounds. It's going to be you guys, squaring off at the end of the tournament for the championship. But again, none of that had anything to do with team building. None of that had anything to do with correlation.
Yeah.
Because again, that's plowed ground. Correlation drafting is already solved for in fantasy football. But player take drafting is not. People that just want to load up on Saquon Barkley and ship it, there isn't a platform for them. And that's why we built Fast Draft.
Yeah. Incredible stuff, guys. Make sure you go download Fast Draft. It's available in over 30 states. You can go to fastdraft.app to check which state, or to see if it's available in your state. But it doesn't even matter. You can mock draft on there as well for free in any state. You can play these tournaments in the mock draft function, even if you can't play them in the actual tournaments. And you can also just do dynasty mocks and other stuff like that. It's an incredible app. I saw this morning, Origins is already up to 30% full. Flex 4 is right about 20%. We've got a couple more weeks until the season. So go get your entries in. Sign up. There's a giveaway on the Twitter. If you go find that, there's a $1,000 Fast Draft credit giveaway. $750 to first, $250 to second. All you have to do is submit 3 turbo mode orders and share your portfolio on Twitter, and of course download the app and all that stuff.
Well, I want to say there's one comment in here. Dylan Gibson says on Origins you got to have picks 1 and 2 to win. That's not true. So he thinks that he's saying that because of Stroud last year.
Yeah.
Okay, so Stroud scrambled the brains of everybody. Okay, rookie quarterbacks rarely do what Stroud did. Think about what Peyton Manning did as a rookie. So that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's very possible that Malik Neighbors is the highest scoring fantasy player of all the rookies. Okay, it's also very possible that Blake Corum is the highest scoring fantasy player of all the rookies. If Kyron Williams breaks his foot in week 1, it's going to be very tough, even for Jaden Daniels, to outscore Blake Corum this year.
Yeah.
Okay, because he's a rookie and he's going to have tons of games where he just doesn't produce.
Yeah.
Right? You're working out of this assumption that Jaden Daniels is going to be amazing, and that he's just going to, it's going to be the next Stroud. And, brains have been scrambled by that, where we can go back and remember the Carson Wentz, Jared Goff rookie year. Fuck off. You know what I mean? Goff off. Anyway, so that's not correct. Okay, that's anything but correct, right? The top scoring wide receiver may not even be Malik Neighbors. It may be Ladd McConkey.
Mm-hmm.
right? Or and the top scoring quarterback could be Michael Penix, as we discussed, or even Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's not true at all.
And there's the third round
So
reversal.
I just want to make that very clear. Sometimes it gets that way. There is third round reversal.
Right.
So we do recognize the 101 as an advantage. Right. When structuring the game. So that's in particular for Flex 4, that's a big deal because, okay, someone gets McCaffrey, that's an advantage, but okay, you have the 110, you have the 111, and you have the 301. That's big. Right. So that's, 110, 201, 301. That's pretty amazing.
It is. There's so many ways to win fast draft. I can't wait.
Like 3 picks in the top 21.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're the last pick, so if you and the thing is, the beauty is there, you can go with 2 guys that were the first overall picks in the last few years. You can start. I've seen people start Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, and you actually have so you're getting 2 101s plus you have pick 21. So yeah, that format in particular, I think has done is highly calibrated to even the playing field with the pick order.
Yeah. Go get fast draft, everyone. Matt, thank you so much for joining me. Take a huge pleasure for you to take a time out your very busy schedule. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. You have a wonderful Wednesday. Fantastic rest of your week. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. And make sure you tune in tomorrow for some more Wake and Take. Have a good one. Peace.
From the Podfather to you, I deeply appreciate you tuning in. And many ask, what can I do? What can I do to help support the host, the research they do, the production costs? Go to PlayerProfiler.com. Dynasty Deluxe, World Famous Draft Kit, Rankings, DFS Dominator, and of course, data analysis. Subscribe to any one of those, and you support all of us and take Player Profiler to the moon.